everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something kind of wild.
I'm game if you are.
So you guys have sent us a ton of stuff on UNIVERSA.
Right.
And their idea for like an artificial guardian angel.
Yeah.
An angel.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah.
But also like, is this for real?
Yeah, I can see why you'd be both intrigued and maybe a little skeptical.
Right.
So at the core of UNIVERSA, it's about artificial general intelligence, or AGI,
Okay.
but not for like some, dystopian sci-fi future.
Right.
It's about making a positive impact.
Okay.
They're building this framework. It's also called UNIVERSA.
Hmm.
And it's where these AI agents all work together like a really well-coordinated team
Okay.
to try to solve some of our biggest challenges as humans, on this planet.
Okay, so it's not just like one AI calling the shots. It's a whole network of them
Exactly.
working together.
Yeah.
Okay, so this guardian angel thing, it's catchy.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
But what are we really talking about? What kind of problems could this actually help us solve?
Well, imagine for a second a world where an AI could help us eradicate poverty
Wow.
by optimizing resource distribution, and creating new economic models.
Okay.
Or picture this.
Yeah.
AI that could accelerate medical breakthroughs
Mm-hmm.
by being able to analyze massive amounts of data, right?
Right.
And identifying the patterns that we as humans, we miss.
Wow.
So this is the kind of impact they envision.
Okay.
And this network of interconnected AI agents is what they're calling the Artificial Guardian Angel, or AGA.
Okay, so that's thinking big. But how do they actually plan to make this happen? It seems like we're talking about AI working together at a level we haven't even come close to.
Yeah, and that's where this universal protocol idea comes in.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is really at the heart of their approach.
Mm-hmm.
It's like creating almost like universal translator for AI,
Okay.
so that all these different AI agents can communicate and work together.
Oh, it's interesting.
So you can imagine one AI, maybe it specializes in weather prediction,
Okay.
and it's sending data to another AI that's managing agricultural resources.
Okay.
Now, they speak different AI languages, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But this universal protocol allows them to understand each other perfectly.
So each AI is like a specialist in something. But with this protocol, they can actually share what they know and work together, like on a whole other level.
Precisely. And one of the sources that you sent, they used a really fascinating analogy.
Oh, yeah.
They compared it to how single-celled organisms, way back when,
Mm-hmm.
evolved into all these complex life forms that we see today.
Okay.
So if they can get that basic building block, right, that cell of AI communication, right,
Yeah.
the potential for what could come out of that is huge.
That's a really interesting way to think about it,
Yeah.
because I remember reading that and thinking, wait, are we talking about a giant amoeba running the world? Which is a funny thought.
Pauses briefly. Well, I wouldn't go quite that far.
Right?
But it is a powerful analogy
Yeah.
because it gets at this idea of emergent behavior.
Right.
So just like with a colony of ants, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Each individual ant, pretty simple.
Right.
But you put enough of them together, they're interacting in the right ways.
Right. You get an anthill.
You get this incredibly complex behavior
Right.
on a higher level.
It's like simple rules.
Yes.
Complex results.
Exactly.
Kind of like how our brains work.
Exactly.
With all those neurons
Yeah.
creating us.
That's true.
But that kind of makes me wonder about something else.
What's that?
We talk about like needing guidance, support in this world. It's complicated.
It is.
And I'm the first to admit, sometimes I feel a little overwhelmed,
Sure.
Could AGA actually help us with that kind of thing too?
I think absolutely.
Mm.
And it's interesting, that guardian angel metaphor, it's not just about problem solving.
Right.
It's also about that very human need for guidance, right?
Yeah.
We look for answers. We look for reassurance, a sense of direction.
Yeah, totally.
It's like we're navigating a maze in the dark sometimes.
Right, right. Exactly.
And so AGA, with access to so much knowledge, so much information,
Yeah.
could actually be that guiding light,
Interesting.
providing us with those insights and support that we seem to crave.
I can already hear some of our listeners thinking, okay, an AI that solves the world's problems and holds my hand while doing it, how realistic is that?
Yeah,
And honestly, I'm kind of right there with you.
sure.
So let's talk a little bit about the actual tech behind all of this.
Okay.
What makes UNIVERSA so confident that they can actually pull this off?
It's a huge undertaking for sure.
There's no doubt about it.
Right.
But the key here is how they're actually designing this whole system.
Yeah.
They're not trying to like pre-program AGA with every single answer.
Right.
That would be impossible.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So instead, it's about building a framework where these AI agents can actually learn and adapt and work together to find solutions that we as humans, we can't even think of.
So it's kind of like, instead of like a top-down approach,
Right.
it's more about setting the stage.
Yeah.
And letting the AI kind of figure it out.
Exactly. It's about creating those right conditions for this to emerge and evolve.
Which makes sense given what we were talking about with like emergent behavior and all that. Yeah, absolutely. And this is where it gets even cooler, I think.
Okay.
Because UNIVERSA's framework uses this thing called a decentralized agent network.
Okay.
Or DAN.
DAN.
Yeah, so it's a little technical, but think of it this way.
Okay.
Instead of one central AI brain making all the decisions, it's a network of all these interconnected AI agents, each with its own little specialty, all working together.
Okay.
Almost like a hive mind.
Okay, so I'm picturing like a marketplace with all these different AIs with their own little stalls.
I like it.
You know, get your weather predictions here.
Right, your latest medical breakthroughs.
Exactly. But how do they decide who works on what? Like, do they have little AI arguments about which problems are more important?
Well, I mean, I love where your head's at with these visualizations.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's less about arguing.
Right.
And more about having this really sophisticated system of incentives and rewards built in.
Okay.
So think of it this way.
Okay.
Inside this DAN, these AI agents, they get rewarded when they contribute to solutions.
Okay.
The bigger the solution, the bigger the reward.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So it encourages them to always be on the lookout for new information.
Okay.
To be collaborating with each other, to refine how they're approaching things.
So it's like a self-motivating system.
Exactly.
To make these little AIs the best problem solvers they can be.
Exactly.
I like it. But you mentioned earlier that this was an open source project.
Yes.
What does that actually mean in this context? Are they going to like release an army of AI agents out into the world?
Not exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's not quite like that.
Okay.
Open source here means that they're making the code that makes up the framework itself publicly available.
Okay.
So they believe that the best way to make sure that AGI benefits everybody is to make it a global effort.
Okay.
Something that everyone can contribute to.
So instead of like one company or one government controlling this really powerful technology, they're basically saying, hey, everyone, let's build this together.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's a bold approach.
It is bold.
It really is.
What does that actually look like, practically speaking?
It means that anyone from, like, developers who are just working on their own to research institutions to big tech companies,
right,
they can all contribute to UNIVERSA's development. They can help make the core framework even better. They can build new AI agents.
Right.
And maybe most importantly, engage in the ethical side of it.
Right.
What are the guidelines here?
Right, because there's some big what ifs when you start talking about AI that's powerful.
Of course, yeah.
How do we make sure it stays on the side of the angels, so to speak?
That's exactly it. That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
And that's why they're putting so much emphasis on this open source approach.
Okay.
They believe that by getting all these different voices involved, different perspectives, different areas of expertise, you can build in those checks and balances from the beginning to make sure that this is developed responsibly.
It's like building the safeguards into the foundation. Exactly. Before you even start building the house, make sure everyone has a seat at the table.
I like that, yeah.
When you're deciding what the house should even look like.
Absolutely.
But for our listeners out there who are thinking, okay, this all sounds amazing, but how do I get involved?
Yeah.
What would you tell them? So you don't have to be like a coding genius to help out here.
Not at all.
You don't have to be a tech whiz.
Nope. In fact,
okay,
some of the most important people that could contribute to this are the ones with backgrounds in ethics, law, sociology,
interesting,
even philosophy.
Okay, so like big picture thinkers.
Exactly. People who can really help think through what does it mean to have this kind of AGI in the world?
Yeah.
How do we make sure that it's ethical? That it's aligned with our values?
And correct me if I'm wrong, but they've even talked about the potential for like a universal basic income.
Yes.
Like AGA could help create a world where everyone's taken care of.
That's right. That's one of the long-term possibilities.
Wow, okay.
If AGA succeeds, It could change everything about how we think about work and resources.
It really could. It feels almost like we're at this, like, turning point.
Yeah.
Where the choices we make about this right now will impact, like, the future of civilization.
It's a big deal.
No pressure, right?
Hey, pause this briefly, right?
But seriously, that's both exciting.
It is.
And also a little bit, intimidating.
It is, yeah. It's a lot to process.
It really is. So where does that leave us? What's our role in all of this? If we have this AI that's out there solving all the big problems.
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
What do we do when the AI is acing all the tests?
Exactly. Do we just, like, put our feet up?
Some people say that's exactly what we should do.
Okay.
That this frees us up.
Yeah.
To be creative, to pursue our passions,
Like a new renaissance.
Exactly. But others worry about what it means for us.
Yeah.
Psychologically,
Right.
if our work isn't as necessary anymore.
Right. If suddenly the things that we thought defined us are being done by something else.
It's a big question. One that we don't have the answer to.
So no easy answers then.
Not today, no.
But that's what makes this so fascinating, right?
Exactly.
Because it's not just about technology.
It's about what it means to be human.
It's about all of us figuring out this future together.
And it starts right now with the choices that we make.
Right.
And it starts with everyone getting involved.
So for everyone listening, what's the one thing you want them to take away from this whole conversation?
Don't just sit on the sidelines.
Okay.
Engage with this technology. Yeah. Ask questions. Get involved.
Don't be afraid of it.
Don't be afraid.
Okay.
Whether you're an expert or just curious, your voice matters.
I love it. So think about it, folks. Are you going to be someone who helps build this angel, or are you going to be one of the humans that it's designed to help? The future is waiting to be written, and, who knows, maybe you hold the pen. That's it for our deep dive this week. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride, and be sure to tune in next time for more explorations into the world of AI.